Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Speak and Grow Rich podcast. Today, I am so happy to introduce you to David Simons. I call him the king of webinars. He is my brother from another mother, and you're going to love him. You're going to get so much wisdom from David today. And David, I just want you to introduce yourself and share a little bit. I know recently one of your clients made $400,000 from one webinar. You know a lot about helping people unlock this webinar situation. So tell us about that. And then, of course, I want to get into your story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Amanda. Truly appreciate you. I am founder of a company called Kingdom Social Media. We help entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and consultants have six-figure days and weeks with webinars and challenges. So excited to be on the show.
Yeah. And so I've many of my friends have worked with David, and he is not lying when he says we help our clients get six-figure days. So you do that. And I'm really curious, how did this one client of yours make $400,000 from a webinar?
Yeah.
Break it
So
down.
there's a couple of pieces, right? So we have a client, his name is Vance. Shout out to Vance. Who had never done a webinar before, ever, right? The ironic piece about all of this is that this was his first webinar, right? What a way to go for your first webinar, right? But we had met actually at ClickFunnels, a funnel hacking live event last year, and we had, it saw I had this backpack where I market what we do, and it saw that it said that we help speakers, coaches with webinars and webinar funnels, and so it reached out initially. He had come to, we invited him out to my challenge. I don't think he took up the challenge, but then one day he was working on a webinar and he just reached out and was like, I need your help. And I was like, what do you charge to work with me? Blah, 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 blah. And he just paid an invoice. Like, I never seen anybody pay an invoice so fast. It was like, what do you charge? I put them out, boom, paid. Like, it's crazy, right? So
that success leaves clues.
Yes.
How you do one thing is how you do everything. So he attracted fast buyers, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And so we're working through the process, right? So one of the things whenever we work with clients, I kind of give them a roadmap of where we're going, right? Like, we need to be clear on the first thing we need to be clear on is the offer, which I always say is the most important part of a webinar, a live event, a challenge, whatever event you're doing, that has to be clear. And so that's what we worked on. We worked on clarifying the offer. What are we going to actually sell and help these people with? And I look at an offer as an opportunity for someone to overcome their obstacles. That's how I define an offer, an opportunity for someone to overcome their obstacles. And with that, we clarified the transformation that offer was going to provide, and we got clear on that. Once we were clear on that, I said, now we're ready to create the presentation that leads to that. So we walked through the steps, we walked through a process. And I will say that in Vance's case, he has a pretty unique offer and a unique offering of value. So that's one key, I think, is finding your uniqueness in the marketplace, right? Yes. No matter what you do, you could be doing Pilates, but maybe there's Pilates for stressed out entrepreneurs, right? Whatever you do, make sure that your offer is unique and it hits a pain point that the market is really struggling with and is willing to pay for. And I believe that offer has to be something, that offer to that person has to be something where they're in pain, right? Yeah. When they're in serious pain, like I think about a dentist who, have a toothache, a scathing toothache, and it's just bothering you. You're like, I need emergency dentist now. Like, those are the best kind of offers. So in Vance's case, he's helping people to improve their credit that have just destroyed their credit, and they're tired of where they were. So his offer was called Bad Credit to Cash, right? So we helped them put a logo, put an offering around that, packaging around that, because, and so just give you some visualization. We had this icon, right? This logo that you got like a like picture $100 bill and a credit card and the card turning into a credit card, a dollar bill, $100 bill. So it's like it's
Mm.
really cool. So visualization, every component is important. We're not
Mm.
skipping any component in there. Every from a logo, from how you position. So one of the things that I find when we work with people, which Vance did, and a lot of the other people that we work with, they don't really tap into their authority. They
Mm.
don't tap into how much of an authority they are. And Vance is incredible at what he does and his 20 years of experience. A lot of people they downplay their own authority. So don't do that, right? Meaning it's not a place to be humble. I believe in humility, but this is not a place to be humble. On a webinar, you need to share with people why you like. So I'm going to give you some taking you through that case study, but I'm also taking you through all of the components that are needed in a webinar.
Bring it
So in
on.
your
This is so juicy.
awesome. In a webinar, your introduction cannot be taken lightly. I know some people want to skip it. I do myself. I'm like, I already know this all about myself. I don't, you're like, well, I don't want to brag. I don't want to be like, it's your best interest for the people you serve for you to really harp on your authority, because that's what's going to make them stay. First of all, like, okay, this person, you can't write that up. That's somebody's background and experience. Then I got to hear what they have to do. And what I like to do is, if you can, in the first moments of your training, weave some type of transformation you've helped people with. So during the webinar, in the beginning, why in the beginning? Because you again put a signal. Like the Bible talks about how don't praise yourself, let another man praise you, right? So you use the power of other people's credibility, proof, social proof that you're the person that can get this done or have done amazing things. But then you also, at the same time, you need to share what you've done and what you've accomplished. You also need to share your human side. You need to share the fact that you have blunders and failures. And that's what a lot of people also don't include when they do training. So when we worked with Vance and we were with all our other clients, we make them dig deep. Like, what did you do in high school? Like for me, I was expelled from high school for cracking into the system and changing my grade from a D to a B. So I always include that in my webinars, something that makes people realize, okay, well, man, David has accomplished this, but he's never gone through any failures. He never, I make sure they know I've had plenty of failures, plenty of
Wow.
not so good experiences to relate, because everybody's coming from different place. And even if a person says, I haven't gone to jail, or it doesn't have to be that extreme. You just need to be relatable, because when you're on a webinar, you positioned all that authority. What we now need to do is humanize you, because if you've been on featured and you're best-selling author, you're this and you're that, you're speaker, you travel the world. Well, now you're too high on a pedestal to where I can't reach that. But what we did was we put you on a pedestal, and then we bring you right back down, and we say, well, yeah, I done all these great things, but did you know that I was facing a felony at 18 for passing a check? I destroyed my credit in college. I almost inked a bad business partnership that would have nearly destroyed my business in 2016 and almost went out of business. Like, you go into the things. We did that with Vance. We do that with every client. We went into his story about his car accident and how it was the catalyst for him starting his business. And every case, we're looking for an opportunity to relate. So that's what the purpose of that is. Now people don't see you as, they still see you as an authority, but they see you as, well, I didn't go through all that, or I did go through all that. Either way, now you're positioned as someone that can be trusted, as someone that's a human, and that you're an expert. Once we get that clear, we go
Can
through
I
our
ask a
process.
clarifying quick question about
Yeah.
what percentage, people ask me all the time, what percentage of your webinar ought to go to your authority boosting and your vulnerability? Like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes?
I'll put it like this. This is the way I look at it. Those two elements are the most important elements of your presentation. The most, like, beyond the offer. It does, because they won't get to the offer if they don't get to those. Um, so
Right.
I won't necessarily give a time, because it can vary, honestly. But I will say that enough to not skip any of it. Like,
Okay.
make sure you go through it and you clarify your value and clarify your humanity, and don't skip it.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay, cool. So now what happens after that?
So once we've gotten all that set, the next piece that we work on is getting the principles that we're going to convey in that training, right? So I used to do this a lot. I'm naturally a teacher type, so I teach and have done a lot of teaching. I'm actually an adjunct professor at Temple University in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And I have a background of, this one of my gifts is to teach. So I would often overteach, right? Like, overteaching is one of the biggest mistakes speakers and trainers and coaches do. And they do it from a great place, right? I want to serve. I want to make sure that these people gain the value. I want to make sure that these people know how to do X, Y, and Z. But one of the things you're doing by doing that is you're misleading people, thinking that they can learn everything in that period of time, and you're causing them to think that they can do it on their own. And that's one of the biggest fallacies, right? No speaker, I'm sure you could attest to this, as great as a speaker is, no speaker can give you all the mastery it takes to learn whatever topic they're speaking about.
In 1 hour.
It's just not 1 hour. Yeah.
Right.
It's not
Exactly.
It's not possible.
It isn't. Okay. So you're teaching
we
the
make
principles, but are you hitting the pain points and activating the gap in each principle?
Yes. Hitting the pain points, you got it. Hitting the gaps, we're breaking, destroying limiting belief systems. We're really inspiring people that they can do whatever you're teaching them about, that there's no hindrance for them to be able to do and achieve what you've said. And we make sure that we weave in stories to illustrate, one of the greatest teachers of all time is, in my opinion, is Jesus. And Jesus never taught a principle without a story, and never taught a story without a principle. So every single thing, if you want people to get it, we hide the principle in the story and make sure that the story illustrates whatever principle. And typically the principles that we're teaching on are around mistakes, around blunders, things that most people are doing wrong. Because no matter what level somebody is, let's just say they're this is a training for people that are striving to get to $1 million business. Well, even at $1 million business, people are still doing things wrong. So they want to know what they're doing wrong. If they're at a $200,000 business, they're still doing things wrong. So if you try to show them what's working right, it's not the ideal objective, because they would be like, I already know that. But if you show them when they're doing wrong, they're looking at it like, oh, okay, I can always use a way to get a leg up. So,
like, what are the mistakes and the blocks? Right. And then they can see the value. Hey, well, you can help me because you just gave me this nugget I didn't even see. So, like, you just gave me a nugget today about the logo. I never thought about having a visual logo. I mean, we have a logo, but how important the logo is.
Yes.
Because that speaks to the subconscious, and it speaks loudly. Okay, this is good. So what are the mistakes? And then your close. Do you do like a pre-close and then a close, or just a close?
Honestly, you're closing throughout the entire thing, right? So you're one of the ways that you're doing that is, so your authority, your transformation in the beginning, is closing. Your questions that you're asking, around whatever topic. So you know, like how would you like to do this, or how would you like to do that? What wouldn't it be great if, you're asking these open-ended loops, right? And then you're asking people to um answer questions, and that's really key to getting them involved, getting them to have yes momentum, say yes in the chat,
Yes.
buy this, put a one in the chat, like getting them involved
Mhm.
is really important. And what I found is that here's the truth when it comes to the close, right? So with webinars, one of the biggest mistakes people make with webinars is not their offer, it's not the closing on the offer, it's sitting in the sale. So here's what I mean by that. Like, you've got to be willing to sit it. So here's what will happen. Presentations, they got to the presentation part. Maybe they follow a method of, okay, hey, they do some type of transition. Usually the transition could be somewhere like, I don't have enough time to cover all of the value that we have. Um, would you agree this has been great? Then they transition, and then, can I have your permission to share a little bit about what we have to offer of value? And then they'll touch on it for 5-10 minutes and then be like, done. Any questions? Right? Like, people just like,
Right.
they're like nervous to sit in the sale. So what I mean by sit in the sale is, you sit in that thing until they are sick and tired of not they're sick and tired of hearing about your offer that they leave. I've had webinars, I know this sounds crazy, where I've sat on there, it's been done hour and 15, we were done, but I stayed on there another hour to 2 hours, just closing and presenting and answering objections. And see, this is the part most people won't do, right? But this is the part that gets, because you got to understand, especially if it's cold traffic, most of these people don't know you from Adam, and they need some time with you,
Mhm.
right? And they
Yeah.
need, so if you're already there, you might as well just finish the timeout. So what I like to do sometimes is bring the person that has an objection, unmute them, if you're whatever you're using on whatever software, unmute them and say, hey, Joan, I want you to share with me what your challenge is, and what makes you this offer not the best timing, or what were you experiencing? Well, David, webinars, I don't like to be on camera, I don't like to be on video, I don't really like. Okay, well, I'm just using the name Jessica. Well, Jessica, do you like making money? Yeah, I do. Do you go to work? Do you have a job? Yeah. Do you like doing everything on your job? No. Okay. Well, this is no different, but except you get to control your own time, and you get to produce money whenever you want to. And then eventually you get so good at it, you can automate it and do all these other cool things. So why not bet on yourself? Maybe you need to get over yourself. You need to get on purpose, right? I'm just throwing an example.
Great.
Something that you can utilize your platform. And then what you've done is you destroyed the objection for Jessica. There's 5 other people that said, then you start seeing sales come in, ding, 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 because that was one objection point that you didn't cover. So you got to look at your webinar is, you're disarming their objections, you're disarming their challenges, their mental roadblocks, and
Mhm.
allowing them to become the person that can take up your offer, right?
That's
And
good.
if you need to, sometimes you got to sit. That's why I say sit in the sale.
Sit and
I'm
sit.
not saying for, so it's a little harder, right? I mean, it's harder to. So if you got a 297 sale for selling a challenge ticket, you can do this too. But a lot of people don't want to sit in there for that price point. Um, but I think it's good practice to do that. But if you're selling something for $2,000, definitely you're
Mhm.
selling where you're selling appointments, booking appointments. Definitely, you should sit in the sale. So,
So
so
just a logistic question with sitting in the sale. Do you have additional slides that you just keep whipping them through where you're going through? So again, this is what you get. This is what you get.
great. Great question. So yes, I am pre-prepared for it. So I will have the value of everything. But what I'll do is I'll have objections that I know people need to get over, usually at that point, that I have already pre-prepared. And then here's a real ninja trick, but is something I've learned recently, is you make sure that you get testimonials. Like when you're interviewing somebody about your testimonial, interview them on your most common objection and feed that into the person that tells the testimony. So now your testimonial directly hits on some of these testimonials. So if you can, prepare your testimonials, or even go back to older clients and, hey, could you just tell me if you were thinking like, I don't have the money to invest into this offer. This is not a good time. Tell us why, what changed and what shifted. Well, you know what, man, it wasn't a really great time, but I understood, So have testimonials that are prepared for the objections that you're going to face. That's one. Two, have, what I like to do is, you kind of already know the objections. So have a list of objections that maybe your presentation doesn't cover, but people struggle with, and start going through them. You know what? Many people say that webinars are dead. And I tell them, just like anything else, people said that TV would die. People said that radio would die. They said that, what happens is that those things don't die. We just evolve and leverage more things. And there's still people that utilize these things today. So some people say Twitter's dead or this is dead, but there's still millions of people that are on Twitter, millions of people that watch TV, millions of people that listen to radio. So nothing really dies. It just it just becomes an addition, and people use it in a different function. So webinars aren't dead, and you should leverage the medium. So whatever it is, you want to make sure that you also are prepared to handle. So you'll probably get questions, right, from people, but if you don't, you're already pre-prepared with your own
So
questions.
at what point of your webinar are you making your first offer? And then from there you sit in the sale. What like 45 minutes in?
Usually after the transition, could be 45, could be an hour. After the transition, I've asked their permission. May I have your permission to share an offer that could transform your life, or may I have your permission to present to you something that will help you to continue the learning? I'm positioning that around halfway through. And then what I'm doing is I ask for a specific amount of time. I'm like 15 minutes to 30 minutes or whatever to cover. Or I like to use something like, have I earned your right to tell you about an opportunity? Because now it's like, because sometimes what I'll do from the very beginning is, yes, I have an offer, an opportunity, but I will ask you later, after I teach you what I teach you, the opportunity to share with you more on that offer. And if I haven't earned the right, you can go home. Don't worry about hearing an offer. If you didn't like what I had to share, but if you do like what I have to share, I will ask you for the opportunity to earn your right to share about the opportunity that we have available. And then so it's really just about getting people prepared and mentally prepared. So I'll share that about 45 minutes, it could be an hour in. I'm sharing about the offer. The first component, I'm sharing about the offer. And then I'm also doing some closes in through that process. There's trial. So what I was talking about earlier is called a trial close, right? So the trial close is something like, wouldn't it be great to have the ability to print money with a system at will? Wouldn't that be nice to have that? Type in the chat yes if you'd like the money printing system that can help you print money at will, ethically. And so that's a trial close. I'm trying it out on the audience to see how they respond. And I didn't share this, but this is important too. You want to get the yes momentum to anywhere from 20 to 50 yeses before they get to your offer. So you're psychologically getting them prepped and it's hard when you said yes to be at the end to say no. So it's a process that you're taking them through to get to that end
Yeah.
goal.
I hope you guys realize this is some serious ninja right here. This is some good stuff. This is some really good high value. No wonder your clients have done so well. So thank you. And just tell us a little bit. You have these amazing photos behind you.
Yeah.
Are you you're from Ghana? And how did you
Yes.
get to the US, and tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that?
So yeah, I'm Ghanaian American. My parents immigrated. My mom immigrated from Cape Coast. My dad immigrated from Accra, Ghana, and they both ended up meeting in Houston, and then eventually getting married and having me and my younger brother in Bakersfield, California, which is where I was born. Grew up in a very strict household. I'm blessed to have the parents I have, but they did definitely push us to become either lawyer, doctor, engineer, accountant. That's all that was respected. I was supposed to be an engineer. I was supposed to be a doctor. We both didn't listen. My brother's an actor in LA. Well, no, he's in Michigan now, but he's an actor. I am now, in the digital marketing and digital media world.
You didn't listen. Was that hard for you? Like, to be honest?
Oh yeah, it was very hard. I literally knew that I wouldn't get a word in when I was going to tell my mom, because her childhood dream for me was for me to be this engineer. She'd prepped me all throughout my life to be an engineer. I mean, it went to I didn't know what she was doing, but yeah, she'd take me to like aeronautical engineering things, put me in engineering classes, all kinds of stuff. And then in my I was a mechanical engineer first year in college. Second year, I was like, I hate this. So I wrote a 7-page letter because I knew I wouldn't get a word in if I tried to explain. And I said, breaking down, Mom, I'm not going to go into this thing. I'm going to go into this other thing called digital media. And eventually, what ended up happening is she was upset initially. But today she kind of is more accepting to the fact that she sees that I have my own freedom. She called me yesterday. She's like, "Where are you?" Like I was like in Atlanta, and like she's always seeing that I have, like, if she needs something, I've surprised her from when I've come from trips and be able to do things. I took her on a safari this last in
So cool.
Tanzania. So it's enabled me to be able to be an entrepreneur. It's enabled me to do some cool things that I've always wanted to do for her.
Yeah. Is that the picture of them behind you?
Oh no, that's me and Abigail, me and my wife. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate
beautiful. And so then you're married, and then now you live out in
Philly.
Philadelphia. Right. Okay. But you grew up in California.
Grew up in
Did you go
California.
to Temple?
I didn't. I went to a school called Sacramento State University.
Okay.
Graduated there from digital media, and then I did my master's at Full Sail University in business entertainment, and yeah.
So you're really programmed like I am. I have a master's also. And
Yeah.
my parents, were very much, and those of you listening, I mean, it's not easy, because if you were I was programmed to be a lawyer. And
Wow.
and then at one point, laying on a beach in Thailand, I said, I'm not doing that. I took the LSAT. I was supposed to come back and apply for law schools. And then I was like, no, but it is hard. But I'm so, the road less traveled, there's a lot more rewards for the road less traveled.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even though, like, you have to break some molds, especially in your mind, and then with family, it can be challenging, but the key is just get really successful like you are and I am, and then everybody will be all right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Respect.
Just keep going, keep going. Okay, I love it. Well, I'm sure we all now want to go watch your webinar and join your challenge. So how can we follow you, learn from you, continue this conversation?
Absolutely. We have an upcoming challenge called One Webinar Away Challenge, and you can find more about that at iam1webinaraway.com. iam1webinaraway.com. And depending upon the time they're listening to this, we'll have one upcoming. So and
Yay.
it's 5-day experience where we really go into the process, because I always share candidly. It's not just some cool thing I like creative phrase I came up with or copied from Russell Brunson. I just I really was one webinar away. I was in 2020, I was speaking at a conference in Ghana, West Africa, and then that's when COVID hit in March. And I almost didn't get back into the United States. They were closing the borders for the US, they were closing the borders for Ghana. I almost didn't get back in. But miraculously I got back in. And then I had partnerships and speaking engagements. I used to do a lot of in-person trainings and things like that, and in-person delivery. They canceled all the speaking engagements. They canceled my partnerships with TD Bank and all these other things that we had going on. And I just asked God, like, God, what am I going to do? Like, this is not what I expected. 60% of my business gone instantly, right? So I had to figure a way, and God dropped in my spirit to do webinars. So I did a webinar, and I did it consistently in 2020, and we made hundreds of thousands of dollars through webinars alone. And I said, you know what? I'm going to help other people to do this, because I was one webinar away from not having a business. So that's why we call it the One Webinar Away Challenge.
Right on. I love that backstory. So when you say you have personally done how many webinars? Like, you're consistently doing the webinar?
Oh man, personally, I started doing webinars in 2013. So it's been a while. I have to be over 1,000 plus. I have to be somewhere.
So,
and then
yeah, helping clients. So this is amazing what you've shared with us. These are some golden nuggets, you guys. Not many people are willing to peel back the curtain and give as much as you gave today. And I really hope everyone's eyes are opened. I mean, hello. Put in the comments, what was your favorite takeaway? I know for me, I'm loving that sit in the sail. I actually saw Russell Brunson pitch from the stage 2 days ago, and he was sitting in the sail. And I was like, when is this going to be over? Going over and slides, and he talks like this is no backs, and then, but that's it. It's like uncomfortable. Like, you're either sitting on the fence, or you're getting off the fence, or you're saying yes when you sit in the sail. So that was my favorite. And then obviously the 20 to 50 yeses before the offer.
Yes.
That was a big one for me. And guys, put it in. And then, so the trial closes, and really asking, I don't ask permission beforehand. So that's good.
Because it's another, you probably guessed, it's another yes. Do we have your permission to share? Yes. So it's another yes too.
Right. Okay. That's good. Way to knock out your yeses. And then do you use a slide deck, or do you use just a whiteboard?
I like a slide deck because I like to direct the attention. Sometimes nothing wrong with using a whiteboard, but I like to be able to control the environment as much as possible.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, cool. And then tell us a little bit how you came up with the name Kingdom Social.
Yes. So based on Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added to you. And that's a scripture I've leaned on, relied on, and I'm a believer, a man of God. And then that's the first principle of why we named it the company Kingdom. But the second thing is we like to help our clients dominate. And you think of kingdom, you think of dominion. And that's what we like to help our clients do.
Amen. 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 Taking territory, ruling and reigning. Right. That's good. That's good. I'm into that. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're all going to go to IamOneWebinarAway.com and follow you on social. Are you under David Simons?
Yes, David D. Simons.
David D. Simons. Okay. Yep. David D. Simons. All right. I'm writing that down. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here with David and I. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you and congratulations, David. And I'm looking forward to seeing, being in your challenge and then seeing you blossom even further.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Amanda. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. All right, guys, watch the next video. Join not only David's, but the Speak and Grow Rich Challenge or the Speak and Grow Rich Masterclass, and see my take on applying these principles that we learned today in my weekly webinar. All right, bye for now. Watch the next video. Bye.